Mini episode 1427 of the FDH Lounge is brought to you by Sportsology, delivering unconventional columns and webcasts about sports, TV, music, movies, and more. Follow them on the web at sportsology.com.
The FDH Lounge. You'll want to schedule your life around it.
A long time ago, on a gloomy, wet Cleveland spring night, two men stand alone amidst the late-night drizzle. Their voices echo across the vacant station parking lot as they debate the merits of the great American radio show that have been missing for far too long. On that night, an idea was born. That idea became the FDH Lounge. Welcome to the FDH Lounge.
Hello and welcome to FDH Lounge mini episode 1427, the weekly FDH football preview show. I'm FDH Managing Partner Rick Morris, here with our preview for Week 17 of the 2021 NFL season, as well as a look at the college football national semifinals. First up is number 4 Cincinnati at number 1 Alabama in the Cotton Bowl, with the defending national champion Crimson Tide laying 13.5. At first blush, 3 different scenarios all seem equally likely. Bama pulling away early in a blowout, a game in which the Bearcats keep it relatively close into at least the third quarter before succumbing, and a nail-biter all the way which could tip to Natty. There is a difference in talent in the starting 22s, but not as wide as some might think, although the edge in depth for Alabama is, unsurprisingly, vast. The matchup between Cincy's shutdown corners and Alabama's dominant wideouts might be the best one that we see all day, but hat tip to SaturdayDownSouth.com for the following stat. Only 2 of the 6 double-digit dogs in the playoff era have covered, and even those were of the weak backdoor variety. These Bearcats are not built to come from behind. The best-case scenario for Cincinnati is that they keep the Tide's passing game in check, somehow don't get dominated in the trenches by Nick Saban's typically huge O-line, and get turnovers at key times while chewing up the clock with their running game. And even then, it's a coin flip on whether the game is a historic upset for the crew from the banks of the Ohio River or just another messy win like Alabama's posted all year long. As such, Cinderella is not going to survive until the midnight ball drop in Times Square. Alabama 38, Cincinnati 19. The nightcap features number 3 Georgia laying 7.5, seeking a breakthrough to national champion status against number 2 Michigan, which already achieved a breakthrough with a win over Ohio State and then in the Big Ten championship game. The momentum in this Orange Bowl swings in wildly different directions. The Wolverines racked up win after win, but with another letdown to Michigan State, they hadn't really proven anything to anyone until those last 2 victories. Conversely, the Bulldogs were the most dominant team in the country all season long until their shocking letdown in the SEC championship game, one that reopened questions about whether they can get past the tier that they've been on with Oklahoma, the perennial contender who can't finish in January. Both teams are elite ball control offenses with excellent front sevens to match, although Michigan has an edge in the secondary. And yet, Georgia's defense operated at a historically high level before running into an Alabama team uniquely poised to exploit it with their wide receivers. There's no recency bias in our pick. Georgia 27, Michigan 17. Last week in the NFL, we were 8-8 overall, 2-1 on the Big Three, and 1-0 on the lock, with the overall numbers at 109, 116-1, 26-19, and 10-5. Here's our picks for this week: Indianapolis -6 over Las Vegas, the New York Giants +6 over Chicago, Tampa Bay -13 over the New York Jets, Atlanta +14.5 over Buffalo, Washington +3 over Philadelphia, Cincinnati +5 over Kansas City, New England -15.5 over Jacksonville, the LA Rams -3.5 over Baltimore, the LA Chargers -6.5 over Denver, Houston +12.5 over San Francisco, Dallas -5.5 over Arizona, Carolina +7 over New Orleans, and Detroit +7.5 over Seattle. For our Big Three, it's Cleveland -3 over Pittsburgh, and Green Bay -6.5 over Minnesota. And in the 1,000-star gold-plated lock of the millennium for NFL Week 17, it's Miami +3.5 over Tennessee. Thank you for joining us for this mini episode of the FDH Lounge.